welcome back, creeps. This is episode 8 of Simply Terrifying, and we're at another Watch Wednesday. Last week we did Stranger Things because we just had to, right? We just had to. And it was all over the place. But this time, now that I've had decades to calm down, this is old school movies. We're talking like dark times, 80s, 90s things that kids today probably couldn't fucking handle. Why? I don't know. Now, I do know after reading, okay, I wondered why. My kids watch a lot of shit, okay? They watch a lot of bright, colorful, loud, just very annoying shit, let's be honest, okay? I have movies that probably would scare my kids. Not my kids, some kids. My kids have watched the same shit that I have because I put it out there, right? I, yes, enjoy horror and all this stuff. So, like, I grew up to be a Halloween-loving dark. I love to wear black, like, look at my co-host right here. Beautiful. It's Clown, by the way, for the podcast. But, I don't think that had anything to do, necessarily, with what I watched, okay? Now, there are things that I learned from shit that I watched, and I don't think that those things are in shows or movies today. I think today it's just like a catch-all of feel-good, magic, inclusion, and all this other trash that just make really cute toys to sell. You know what I mean? I'm not in it for the toys. I'm not in it for the bubbly feel-good. I want the dark, creepy, what's gonna happen, okay? And I feel like the darker, well, this is what it says, the darker quality of kids shows in the 80s and 90s was the result of a unique intersection between federal deregulation, evolving animation technology, and a shifting cultural philosophy regarding what children could handle. Basically what it means is, back in the day, we could handle a lot of shit, which is why today we can handle a lot of shit. But kids born after the 90s, right, in the 2000s, they have a different kind of psyche, I think. They were brought up with our cartoons that were rewashed and definitely recycled and revoiced and all kinds of things, and just didn't hit the same. You know, like, we had Care Bears. They also had Care Bears. But ours were different, okay? Theirs were brighter, more glittery, more glossy, more upbeat. How can you make a Care Bear more fucking upbeat? They fucking did, okay? They fucking sweetened the shit out of it, and it was annoying. Oh my god. Really cute if you know it, you know, and you've never seen the old ones, but it's like, what is this shit? It's like when they change a voice actor in the fucking Simpsons. It's annoying. It's not real. You're fake. I want the real shit, okay? The real shit. Now, in the 80s and 90s, back to the darkness. Let's go to the darkness. This was what a lot of people refer to now as a scary time in childhood. My parents would put this movie on because, you know, it was labeled a kids movie. So they put it on, and now I can't sleep without a nightlight. And I am completely traumatized. There are some people like that too. I'm not one of those. Okay. So let's get into some of the goodness. There's a movie that I watched day after day after day. I have an aunt who would come home, like she was in school at the time, and she would get off the bus, she would hear the music from this movie, and just like she was over it. Like she'd seen it so many times because I was obsessed with it. It was The Labyrinth. Oh my god. I am all about puppetry, and so many kids today are fucking terrified. This is a puppet doll beside me. It's from the movie Dead Silence, which is like obviously not from the 80s and 90s, but it has that special something, you know? So cute. I just love it so much. So, The Labyrinth. I watched it obsessively, okay? And now, I was smaller, obviously, when I started watching it. So what drew me to it as a tiny person to want to keep watching it over and over? I mean, You watch it today and you're like, you know, you see things, you hear things. It's kind of interesting to see a movie that you watched decades ago. And then you pick up on like the adult things in there, the dark, like some things you look at and you're like, what the fuck? But that movie still holds a lot of things. Now I will tell you that if you haven't seen it, for one, what the fuck? You know, at least you're never going to get a sequel. So there's that. I mean, David Bowie's gone. And if you were a Bowie fan and you've never seen it, the pants, I mean, you get to see him and little him, like, basically a good chunk of the time. So if you're into that, there you go. But there's also, like, all these cute little characters, and there's some gnarly looking ones, and there's some creepy looking ones, and there's a lot of music and, you know, a lot of themes and stuff like that. So my favorite one, I just remember once upon a time, my favorite character being this little worm that you see close to the beginning. Okay, he's like this big. He's this fuzzy little furry little worm wearing a scarf. Really cute. And I always thought he was just so sweet. He was just, yeah. It wasn't until I watched it like later in life where I thought, it's your fucking fault that she went through all the shit she went through in the labyrinth, because if you would have told her to go the other way, she would have went straight to the castle, found her brother, and it would have been over. But no, you told her to go. Like someone wants to go through the fucking labyrinth. What the fuck is wrong with you? Stupid little worm. I would have. But, as a kid, you know, you don't really put it all together. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. There were some things, okay? There were some things like that, okay. What my sister saw of this movie, she definitely did not watch it as much as I did, but she did watch it. And there were the firebirds, okay? This is later in the movie. These are creatures that can take off their limbs, they can take off their head, they can, you know, they dance around. They're kind of gnarly looking. You know, they're a little freaky. You know, if you saw one propped up in the corner, you'd be like, you know, keep my eye on that thing. Maybe not turn my back on it. All right. I understand. And some things were made to be like that. Like they're made to make you feel a certain kind of way. But they take their head off and stuff like that, and they try to take this human's head off, which doesn't happen. And so when they all start popping heads and stuff like that, she did not like that at all. There's a point where one like takes its eyes out, throws them up, swallows them, and then they just end up back in their eye sockets. Totally fucking freaked her out. Like disgusting, disturbing, like, and you see things like that and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess, you know, I would always call her a baby. I would always say, you're ridiculous, all this stuff. But I guess having kids now and watching it back, all right, maybe a 4-year-old might find that a little creepy. Okay, but so puppets and different dark things and stuff like that. So the labyrinth is, you know, a girl having to go get her little stepbrother, half-brother, out of this maze. Otherwise, the kid will turn into a goblin. She has to make it to Goblin City. Like, the whole thought of it. You have a time limit. You have all these obstacles. Like, you get in it with Sarah. Like, you are right there. Like, oh my God. All these things are trying to get in her. I keep hitting this microphone. I'm so sorry. All these things keep trying to get in her way and stop her and distract her and all this stuff. And then he, the Goblin King, you know, David Bowie, is trying to make her feel like, do you even really want your brother? Because if you didn't, you'd have all this extra time. You've had all this extra stuff. I mean, he wants another goblin for his city, right? He's got full of or a city full of goblins. And then you start to think, as you're older, you don't think this when you're small, but you think, were all these fucking goblins kids at one point? Like, he's stolen all of these kids and distracted enough people to not come save them, so he just has this entire fucking, like, you start to see things really differently then versus now, but like, it was still a good movie. I didn't walk out of it away from it scared. Like, there were people that were lost, there were things that were sad, all this stuff. Speaking of sad, we'll just jump ship. How about Neverending Story? Okay? Again, another one you watch when you're small. Okay, back then. Watching it later, okay, some things you can't watch later. Some things you just have to keep tucked away. It was good when it was good. Now it's going to be annoying as shit, whether it's a character's voice or like whatever. So Neverending Story was one of those for me, but a part of it I never forgot. There was a part where, again, if you haven't seen it, it's been out for decades. I can't help you. So spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know. But there's a point where Atreyu is the kid, I want to say. Unless that was the horse. Okay, so it's been a very long time since I've seen it. But anyway, kid and horse. He's pulling it along. This is all being read and like brought to life by a child reading a book in the middle of a storm, blah, blah, blah. So in this book story, the never-ending story, this kid is trying to get to somewhere, okay? He's leading a horse. At one point, he is going through what is called the Swamp of Sadness. I feel like this is really wrong. So like, if you haven't seen it and you want to, maybe you should just do that, because this is a very loose interpretation, okay? So anyway, Swamp of Sadness. Again, as a kid, you're not like thinking of that in any kind of way, but there's one point where the horse just kind of stops moving and he's in quicksand, okay? They both are. And so this kid is really trying to get the horse to move, but he's like, you can't, you have to block it out, stop listening, stop feeling all the stuff. This horse is so overcome with this fucking sadness that he just stops moving and he starts to fucking sink into the ground. Like I can understand, okay? I can understand that may seem just a tiny bit traumatic. Okay, a tiny bit. Then you're just like watching this horse go in. You're not really getting why he's going in. He's just not moving. Why is he not moving? And then it's just like sad. So as a kid, you walk away with like the sad memory from a movie. And then as you watch it as an adult, you're like, oh shit. He was in a swamp of sadness. Like he is so fucking depressed right now. He can't even walk. So there are some things where, okay, I get it. Maybe it was a little too heavy for some, but on the flip side, it happens though. You walk around today and you see a lot of fucking horse-like people that are just, yeah, it's fine. I guess I can do that. Like, they are just so fucking miserable looking. Like, what is going on, guy? Like, you're sinking into the fucking ground. Like, just smile. Like, just try. Another one that was kind of weird and dark. Another Jim Henson thing. He just had a way with things. The Dark Crystal. Now, The Dark Crystal was actually remade as a show like a couple years ago, and I know that because my daughter has watched it like 19 fucking times. But apparently the budget to make such a show was so big that the return wasn't as great as they thought it would be, and so season 2 is kind of like non-existent, at least for the moment. She has high hopes. Poor thing. But so the Dark Crystal had a bunch of different creatures in there and a bunch of like dark soul sucking. Like it itself had some creepy shit. It had some death and loss and just like really gothic-y, just kind of overtones, like everything was dark and gloomy, and you're on this trip with this character who's trying to save these people while helping. Like, it's just like, this is what the dark stuff was. Like, you were always with a character, hoping for the best, knowing that something is probably gonna get fucked up along the way, but everything's so cool to look at, and you're creeped out and you're nervous and stuff, but in like the best way. It's just a weird situation. I don't get that feeling when I sit down and I watch something. Now we're gonna do a separate like Disney thing here one day, but like I can't think of a good kid movie. We're talking like non-animated, like just a kid movie that you can sit and watch and you really don't know what's gonna happen. Like everything is predictable as shit. Okay, like, I think like I really don't know. All right, I take that back. I'm going to say like one of the more recent ones, which I say more recent, but I want to say that is even early 2000s, was like a series of unfortunate events. That was something that was made directed towards kids, followed 3 orphans because their fucking parents died in a fire, which is horrible, which was actually a murder, and like they bounce from potential, you know, relatives / person, guardian to help them, and like all like just things keep happening because somebody wants their family's fortune and like it's just that kind of stuff kind of brought me back. But again, it's dark and gloomy, and there's just something about that setting that started so long ago, like that formula, just that one stays with you. Now, I like as far as another one that's like upbeat and blah, 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 like you think of, I don't know. I really don't know. Like a Cinderella story-ish type, but you know how it's gonna go. Like, I don't know. So, we'll even go back. We'll go back. Secret of Nim. Okay. I don't particularly like this movie, but I've seen it many, many times. My kids actually watched it for the first time not long ago. Yes, the characters are annoying, and you realize that there are some messed up stuff going on, you know? Obviously, there's death, there's a scary cat, there's a lot of creepy things going on. And there's things to root for, there's things to be hopeful for. But just the tone, like you've got these, like the fucking, let me line up these cartoons. Let me make sure I got it right. So the cat is named Dragon. He had a look about him like scar face, creepy eye, just, you know, wants to, like a dragon, you know, just kind of, And then you've got the creepy fucking owl with the bright ass yellow eyes. He turns his head, you know, all kinds of weird fucking ways, and it's just, it can creep you out, okay? It can definitely creep you out, but you watch it again, you know? Like, people have watched this shit over and over and over, and it's just something about the dark and whimsical while tying in, like, real world complexities, like death, fear, like morality, mortality, like all of these things you just got from the movie, even if you didn't really think you were going to get it. Today it's like, is the princess gonna marry the prince? Well, it's not even like that today, because God forbid there be a princess falling for a guy. My God, now it's gotta be like, that'll be its own. We're not even gonna go there. Are there any other darker things? Are there any other darker shows? Let me see. Something else I watched way back in the day. Not dark. No, not dark. I would watch like Drop Dead Fred. I loved that movie when I was younger. Loved it. I never had an imaginary friend. Not a real one. Like, I really tried. You know? I would tell people that I did sometimes. I mean, I didn't see anybody though. And I would always get so disappointed. But watching that movie, like, he was so cool. How awesome would that have been? Then you realize that, okay, in reality, like watching it back, you know, you watch a kid, you see this goofy dude doing all this crazy shit, making mud pies and all this stuff. But as an adult, you realize, okay, well, that girl's mom is a bitch, which, yeah, you knew she was mean when you were watching it when you were younger, but she's like an actual vindictive kind of bitch. You know what I mean? And this girl had nobody. She didn't have any siblings. It didn't even look like she had any friends. You know, not really. So yeah, you have to fucking make up somebody to get along with that fucking freezer cunt. God. And then, like, the whole thing with the relationship where the mom is trying to put it back together when obviously it's not fucking working. Like, that kind of stuff was, yeah. So another thing, you get to go on this journey with this character. You get to see her evolve and kind of come into her own being eventually. And in the end, she's like actually thankful for him and, you know, doesn't want to just shut him out or disregard him altogether. Like, she is the best parts of herself because of him, kind of deal. So like every dark and twisted story that came from the 80s and that, I'm not going to say all. Is there one where there's not? A lot. We're going to say a lot of stories that came from the 80s and 90s with the dark and whimsical stuff came with some kind of message that you never forgot, okay? Whether you watched it again as an adult or not, you took away something from this scary time as a kid, right? Now, whether you have your kids watch that shit to just watch it and appreciate it for what it is, what it was, I mean, that's on you. I did that, okay? Because I don't want my kids to think that everything made today on YouTube is what life is. You know what I mean? Like, there are sad things that happen. There are rough times that you will have to go through yourself. There are people you're going to run into that aren't going to be great. Like, watching some things like that that might be uncomfortable at first or might be creepy or scary or like, even if you watch it like this, you know, you're going to take something from it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. Today, like, I feel like there's so much shit that's been overdone and reworked, and I don't know if Hollywood's just out of fucking ideas or what, but like, to take something and recast it, revoice it, change the storyline this much, like, you're just don't. Just like, stop doing that. Like, it's just been done so much. There are things that movies make it easier to understand, especially when it comes to like real life relatable stuff. Love, death, friendship, like sadness, all of this stuff. It's nice when it can be tied in and not everything has to be a big shiny glittery bubble of shit, you know? Like, to have things that make you feel a little uneasy but still have some kind of effect. They knew what they were doing back then. And that's why we are a different breed. We are a different generation. What we could handle versus what people handle today, very different. And I'm not sad about that. I'm not sad that I had that. I'm sad that a lot of people don't have that now. So, sheltered or whatever you want to call it, some things just aren't as good as they used to be. And I never thought I'd say that. I used to hear people say that shit and I was like, that will not ever leave my mouth. And here we are again, something else. So is there a movie or a show that was really dark or whatever? I want to say there was like something Down. Watership Down? Could not tell you what it's about. Watched it when I was a kid. I know, like, if I close my eyes and think really hard, I see like bloody bunnies. I don't know. Like, we'd have to go way, like, I'd have to sit down and rewatch that. I don't think I have. I saw that it was remade. I don't know. Animal Farm was another one that was something, you know, that had other meanings and things. And that was another one that just kind of like, meh. But something about the animated or the puppet angle and the gothicness of it all. That's what drew me in. That's what they just did it right. So if you haven't seen some of these things, like The Labyrinth, oh my God, like that's about to be 40 years old. Is that right? 40? Let me see. One moment, please. The Labyrinth release date. I'm about to feel really fucking old. Give me a sec. It came out after I was born. Oh my God. Okay, that I didn't really pay attention to. It was released June 27th, 1986. Oh my God. The Labyrinth and I are about to turn 40. Okay, all right. Well, with that realization, yes, great, perfect. Okay, if you haven't seen it, you most definitely should watch it because it is still a thing. And if you haven't ever heard of it, you're a fucking loser and you need to get some better movies. Okay, I think that's just it. That little breakdown right there, that little meltdown, we're just going to call that the end. So thanks for tuning in. This is episode 8 with our Watch Wednesday. Next week we will do something. I'm not going to tell you. You'll just have to come back. So we're wrapping it up. Thanks for listening and we will see you next time. So there's that. Everyone have a great day. And again, we'll see you when we see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.